Because it's very tense. Big match tonight, Paris Saint Germain versus Barcelona.
That's right. And Stuart, do you believe in miracles? Because L'Équipe, the French sports daily, sure does. Croire au miracle. So, of course, this big game tonight, all of the French media is very excited about it. And L'Équipe says, well, in this return game for the quarterfinal of the Champions League, well, Paris Saint Germain does have a chance, but it's going to be an uphill battle because they're going to be facing Barca on their home turf, and Barcelona has only lost a game this season. But Aujourd'hui en France is also getting their hopes up. On y croit, yes we can, with this photo of the big star of Paris Saint Germain, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now they point out that this would be a real sporting exploit, and it's not completely out of reach, but PSG has to completely cream Barcelona tonight. And Aujourd'hui en France Inside takes a closer look at just what chances PSG actually has. It has 1 in 5 chances of winning, but PSG is also on a winning streak. They haven't lost a game in 7 matches, and that was back in October. But I know the question you're really wondering is, will François Hollande be watching this game? And Aujourd'hui en France also takes a look at this scenario. You see his partner Valérie Trier-Valeur asking him, are you watching this game, François? And he says, well, seeing fans cheer for people who most certainly have Swiss bank accounts is going to lift up my spirit. So you open Aujourd'hui en France today to take a look at that cartoon.
Excellent. It's a nice cartoon you found in Aujourd'hui en France. Excellent stuff. Well, of course, the French newspapers not just talking about politics. That's one big passion here in France. The other one is politics, sport to politics. François Hollande wanted to put forward to ensure more transparency in French politics in the aftermath, of course, of the Cahuzac scandal.
That's right. He's announced a series of measures, and Le Figaro, the right-leaning paper today, says that these kind of measures are going to lead to a real political fight. Now, François Hollande is calling this a moralizing shock, and the idea is to bring back morality and values back into politics. And so, in fact, the government is going to put forward a bill that would oblige elected officials to public any kind of assets they own. And in fact, they have to make these assets public by Monday. And this has received a lot of criticism from both the right, which says that this is really just a diversion from what's really important, which is the economy, and the left as well, which says this could turn into some sort of a witch hunt. And in their editorial, Le Figaro says it completely understands elected officials who are upset by this new law, this new step up in transparency, because basically they're being punished for one man's mistake. And that man, of course, is Jérôme Cahuzac, the former budget minister, who turns out had a secret bank account in Switzerland. Now, Le Figaro says that these new measures will lead to this kind of climate of suspicion where if you're against this law, well, it means maybe you have something to hide, which Le Figaro says is wrong. And also it could lead to some sort of a Pandora's box, lead to what they call a hysterical voyeurism, which would make it seem bad to have, if anybody had a lot of assets. Basically, pretty soon elected officials will feel like to justify running for office, they have to make minimum wage, and it'll make it seem like, having money is a bad thing, says Le Figaro.
Okay, and left-leaning Libération focusing on a bit of a backlash which is now starting up against this bill.
That's right. They point out that when it comes to this transparency, well, elected officials aren't very transparent, and it points out that this bill could in fact have bad side effects, and that's that elected officials will be judged not on their policies, but how wealthy they are. But Libération says this kind of transparency is indeed necessary, but it's in fact not enough. Real measures have to be taken, measures which attack what they call the roots of evil, and that's, for instance, the breeding grounds of tax evasion, etc. Aujourd'hui en France actually points out something interesting about this new transparency law, which is the fact that in the EU, it's only in France and Slovenia that elected officials don't have to publish their assets. In most other European countries, they have to make their assets, at least if not completely public, in somewhat of a semi matter.
And finally, the French papers are also focusing, of course, on the rising tensions on the Korean peninsula.
That's right. Metro magazine today wonders if all this drum beating that we've been hearing from Kim Jong-un, if all this is just a phantom menace. Well, whatever is happening, these threats sure do have the U.S. and neighbors and South Korea on high alert. Slate has a really interesting article about North Korean propaganda, because on top of all these threats, we've been seeing all these photos coming out of Kim Jong-un doing various military things. Now, Slate analyzes these photos using using very sophisticated technology that, in fact, the France's defense ministry uses to see just how much they've been doctored up. And so the photo on the left there is the original photo, and the photo on the right is the analysis photo. And if you see the white bits and the very dark bits, those are the parts that have been doctored up. So the white bits are the ones that have been brought out, so all the medals that are on the generals. The darker bits, though, are the parts that have been brushed out, so the maps. So the idea is this is all this to cultivate this idea of doubt and mystery in North Korea.
Interesting, fascinating look at photographs. They're fantastic. Thank you very much, Florence. Florence Villeneuve with the French papers on France 24. Here's the headlines then. South Korea raising its military watch to